So, Evan, welcome back, man. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good, pretty chill.
Yeah.
Just throwing cases for Red Bull, same shit every day.
Fair. I get that. Well, it's not the same, shit every day for the Detroit Tigers as baseball is underway. They had 2 series, and right now they're kind of looking at this season. I think it's going to be interesting. But one of my hot takes for them going forward is that, and call me crazy for it.
You always are.
Okay, well, I think Tarek Skubal is not the ace in the Tigers rotation anymore.
But then who?
We will talk about it. Alrighty, folks. Guys, we'll get right into my take right there. Where do you think I'm going with this? Because we have some pitchers in our rotation that I think are pretty damn good. Who do you think where I'm going to go with this?
I want to say you're going to go youth, but at the same time, I don't know because we just got Flaherty back, but at the same
that's
time,
where I'm going. I'm going to Flaherty again. I think he's a good pitcher, and I think what we've seen from Skubal so far, with the lackluster ERA and a lackluster win percentage. I mean, yet again, he did go up against the Yankees, but he had a game in Seattle. The Dodgers.
I was going to say.
He had a game against the Dodgers that, kind of got away from him. But, he has a 5.91 ERA. He's leading the team with that. And I just, when I look at, how that's going, it's sad to see a pitcher fall. I mean, obviously it's only 2 starts, but his stuff last night wasn't so good. And because of reasons, in the second inning, you have
Did he have surgery over the offseason?
I did not believe so. I think he's just coming right off of,
I was going to say, if it was surgery could put a little bit of hamper into it.
I see that. But, you get a guy like Colt Keith make an error at second base where there's a force out, throw to first. He's trying to turn a double play.
Defense was our worry.
It was our worry, and it's kind of been there throughout the year. One of my things so far, we're 2-4. We take 3 out of 4 games against the Mariners. I think that was pretty good. I think, seeing how they played in those games and seeing how they played.
Mariners aren't no slouch either. They're a really good pitching team. So taking at least 2, that's not bad.
Yeah, taking 2 is not bad. And it's early on. Obviously, the entire AL Central, if you look on the boards there, folks, we're all tied for first place. So we're starting off big old goose egg, just like we did at the beginning of the season. But one of my things, I want to talk about those 4 losses to the Dodgers because they were close. And I was talking with Zach about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, but there's still losses, Pop."
Yeah,
whatever,
he was
dude.
talking shit to us while we were all playing golf.
Yeah, he was gaslighting me. And I'm like, dude, we're the Detroit Tigers versus the arguably, I think all the folks out there can agree with me, the best team in the MLB because they have so much money. And we can.
I wouldn't call them the best team in baseball. I mean, best constructed, sure,
yeah,
but that's also we look. Funny enough, I mean, yes, they won the national championship this year, but.
No, the MLB. Okay, yeah, go on.
Where I'm getting this is obviously, most people, obviously Ohio State did end up winning, but people were doubting them oh, this is such a great roster, money can buy, yet they can't win it all.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, yes, the Dodgers.
They did it last year.
Yes, so. But at the same time, if they didn't win it, a lot of people would still be saying, yes, so Ohio State was a good team. Yeah. Money bought it. Yeah. Money didn't pay off. So I think with the Dodgers, they're a great team, but money can only buy you so much as a good team.
And you have to build that chemistry, and I believe that Skipper there is able to kind of culminate the guys and get them going to a way that's good. But when they're talking about early, the first game, they're like, it doesn't matter if they can break the all-time win record in the regular season. All it matters is that they're able to get their heads together and win in the postseason. And I think
they finally broke through this past year, but we've seen it. Yeah. They've been really good in the regular season, kind of like the Baltimore Ravens a little bit.
Definitely.
But just like Lamar Jackson, they shit themselves.
Yeah, and I mean...
Yeah, they won last year, but I mean...
Well, they're starting out in a hot streak right now. They're 8 wins, undefeated right now. Where do we see them kind of ending up?
I think they'll still do well. I have a lot of other teams that I think are better than them that are constructed better for the postseason rather than strictly regular season play. I mean, you can be the best team in the world in the regular season.
Yeah.
But if you can't do shit in the postseason, what's the point? Exactly. What's the point of like building this superstar roster? I mean, you look at it, I mean, this backfired completely, but the Angels, when they had Ohtani, they had three arguably best players
Mike
in
Trout,
baseball.
Ohtani,
and Anthony Rendon a year after winning the World Series with Washington.
Yeah.
Those three were arguably the best at their position at the time. Agreed. Injuries derailed one, injury derailed the other, and then the other got traded the following year.
Yeah.
And the Angels right now are in complete shambles. So
and that organization has always been in shambles. I feel bad.
They've been
all
right in years past, back when we were kids and watching the Tigers do really well. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just like the things that the anomalies, like certain teams that you can build an awesome super team, but if you can't win in the playoffs or even just win in general, what's the point of building a super team?
And that's what excites me about this Tigers team is that we were able to go into the playoffs with a little less juice than we do have this year and get to the divisional round against the
and you probably could. We honestly could have beat Cleveland if Cleveland didn't have that insane bullpen they have.
Yeah, I mean,
if that bullpen was half as good as they were, I think you see a Tigers team moving on to play the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think when it goes, say that kind of route happens this year, I think we can beat Cleveland because of the bats we have. And one of the things that's interesting about the Tigers is that this year these bats are showing up early and often. You got Spencer Torkelson hitting great. You got guys like Javier Baez picking up the work. He has a 0.700% OPS percentage, and he's batting 300. He has 2 RBIs.
No one saw that coming.
I mean, I hoped and prayed at night.
Well, yes, but myself, no one thought he would actually make contact.
Yeah,
myself
and then
included.
One of my things also here is that you got Riley Green with 2 home runs leading the team, and you got Dylan Dillinger with 5 RBIs.
What a name!
I prefer a man in Jake Rogers, but that
Dilly.
Dilly indeed. But I like Dylan, especially if he can keep up this pace. The problem with catchers is that they get beat up. So having 2 catchers on the team that can hit like that, pretty good for the Tigers. One of the things that I want to talk about here is the struggles of Colt Keith early on. He took the spot of Javi Baez. I don't know if they switched bodies or whatnot. He has a whopping 176 batting average, and then a 404 on base percentage, and a slugging percentage of 2.35. I mean, he's struggling. And then you saw his issues last night, and the errors he made. It's just like, like what you got to do something with him. But the problem is like you keep putting a guy like Gabriel Torres, who's injured right now. It's one of those things that's tough. But Gabriel's actually batted pretty good. He's got 429. So the Tigers are heating up early. The average of the team is almost at 300 at 256 batting average. And they're getting a lot of base on balls early, which I like. Usually it's a struggle for them to get moving with it. And we talked about all year. If the bats are hot, the Tigers will win games. And right now they're 2-4. And obviously the Dodgers, that series I kind of look at as like the Pistons last night. You didn't have all your guys firing on all cylinders. It's, a game that's kind of a throwaway. Let's see what we can do. And I think that series was a throwaway, but it gave me some confidence that this team can not only win, but win and compete against the best teams in the league. What did that series kind of say to you as a fan? And then subsequently this next series with Seattle, how are you taking away from these 2 series so far?
I think if you are Detroit, it's a great look that you're that close to beating the world power that is LA
multiple times.
But here's the thing. When it mattered, when you needed it, defense needed to step up. And defense was really the story of the issue. I mean, the Tigers could be up there as well with them, but defense has held them back. Yeah. I'm not going to say offense either. I mean, offense has been a little bit of lackluster in itself. But if you're having your ace, throwing him out there, and you're like, this is not what we saw last year.
Yeah.
It is concerning because obviously your defense is your weakest part of the team.
It is. And
if your pitching falls with that, you're not going to win a game, no matter how good you are as a hitting team.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the things that kind of like, that was my biggest concern is that, with the pitching right now and how we're kind of, having that trajectory. Tarek Skubal is one of our aces, and he is the guy. He was the guy last year. He was leading the team in strikeouts. But it's like, when you look at the ERA, and then the amount of wins that like starters have right now. Casey Mays is the only guy with 1 win out of the starters, and it's just like,
it's early. It is early, but you don't want to see.
It's concerning that the ERAs of guys are like, Tarek's at the middle of the pack, and you got some guys who haven't pitched yet. But like out of, Flaherty has the best ERA right now at 3.18, which isn't, the best or the worst. But, it's concerning that you have a guy in Bo Brisky, who's a relief pitcher, with an ERA of 16.88. It's like, what is going on here, guys? But no, I mean, to your point, it's early, but these trends are concerning. I think that's why we're bringing them up. What do you think about the pitching rotation so far and the bullpen as well? Do you think there'll be a way that AJ Hinch will be able to settle down these guys and kind of get some more work out of them?
I think if you are Detroit, you got to be patient a little bit. I know it's early.
Yeah,
I know patience is not ideal sometimes. But
yeah, don't talk to me about patience.
Yes,
I'm a Wings fan.
I know.
Go on.
But I'll tell you this.
Okay,
it's a very early season, and a lot of people have this Detroit staff, pitching wise, as the best, like as in top 5.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of people talk about it because you have.
Then where is it early on? Because this is not a top 5 pitching staff right now. What do you think is the issue?
I think big picture, it's your defense that's making it's the defense. Because look at it this way.
I mean, the defense has played pretty well overall. I mean, there's been some plays where I'm like, I haven't been like, what the fuck, looking at my TV.
Right, but think about it this way. The reason Skubal's ERA is so high, it's not because he's letting up the easy home run or whatnot. It's the defensive plays that are costing them runs, which also bumps to your ERA. It's not, ERA doesn't just account for home runs. It also accounts for the fact that defensive plays, errors, earned runs. I mean, even a bloop single or a sac fly could also knock your ERA. It's not just a home run that's going to knock your ERA.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way it goes, I'm looking at the fielding stats by position. We have 1 error on the season.
Well, it doesn't have to be errors. It could be just the fact that, like, if a team just gets hot in an inning, you get a single here, a double there.
Definitely.
It's stuff like that. I'm looking right now at like the top pitchers right now. Zach Wheeler right now has a 1.3 ERA. He's only allowed 5 hits through the first. How many ever games we played? I'm not quite sure on it.
I think 8.
Okay, and has 18. He's only allowed 2 runs, and the 2 runs he's allowed are 2 home runs, only 5 hits, and 18 strikeouts. I mean, stuff like that where, like, you're looking at, like, it doesn't just have to be home runs that's doing it. I mean, Seattle's ace Logan Gilbert has a 3 ERA. Yeah. Only 12 innings pitched. He's allowed 4 home runs.
Yeah.
But he's also got 18 strikeouts. There's a lot of things that go into that where it's not just if you allow a home run.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, I do agree that, like, it seems that this year there has been a lot more home runs being hit.
A little bit.
And then we're, the AL Central obviously is going to turn out to what it is. People have made jokes that, it's the most unpredictable division in baseball. And I would have to agree with that. I think, the unpredictability of the AL Central proves to its drama it creates. I mean, last year we thought it was going to be one of the worst in baseball, and it turned out to be one of the best. And this year it's supposed to be one of the best, and it may be one of the worst. And it's like, alrighty, where are we going with this? It's like I don't know. It's very interesting, but yeah, the Tigers most notably play the White Sox next. Jack Flaherty's on the mound for Game 1 in Detroit, the home opener at Comerica Park. If you're going down to the game, I say
spend $25,000 on tickets if you really want to. Buy yourself a club seat.
Yes, seriously. I mean that to that point. I mean, what the Ilges have kind of tried to do, I like. I mean, I like bringing more money to Detroit by bigger names. I think they understand that they got a lot of people coming up into the system that are like premier players, but it's one of those things that I kind of look at this as like, you get rid of my Tigers sign, you put a Comerica Park sign up there, I'm going to be pissed off. Now, like they said, it has 25-year wear period. It's not been up there for 25 years. I think everyone in the media just saw it as a money grab. We see it for what it is. Quit trying to make excuses, Illich Holdings, and just say, hey, we wanted to help our biggest sponsor out and give them a name to a park. Because, like, Progressive Field has that. They don't have Cleveland. or Guardians above their.
Well, with that being said, also recently they changed the name. Remember that it used to be the Indians.
Yeah.
So you can't put Indians up there unless you want.
You could put Guardians though.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't even like the name. If I'm being honest, I mean it's interesting, but it's still the Cleveland Indians. That logo, it was sick.
It
was the history there. It was sick. I know it sounds horrible to say, but no, it was.
Yeah.
The tradition was there.
The tradition was there. I think the underlying Chief Poobah. I think that's a little racist.
Well, you don't. Well, they didn't have to make a cartoon mascot of him. You can kick the mascot out, and you solve the problem right there.
Yeah, they could also
do script writing
or something that honors Native American people, because
the Braves have a name still. Yeah, it's fine.
The Chiefs. I mean,
Seminoles for Florida. I mean, Florida State.
There is a lot, but I think Indians were pushing the line. But I think
the logo with a red person. Sure.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. I think we all agree
you
on
can
that,
literally do Indians in script and make it still be fine. That's changing the name completely. I mean, I get it. Cancel culture, what have you, but even still,
I don't even think it was that, but I think cancel culture right now is kind of going towards leading at the Yankees and looking at kind of I was surprised it didn't hit the torpedo bat in the Yankees organization, but
torpedo bat.
I mean, we'll talk about that. If fans out there, go look up torpedo bat.
You're basically batting with a bowling pin.
Yeah, and so what it is that towards your hands there is a little bit bigger of a barrel comparatively to the end of the bat. The Yankees fans, the Yankees, research and development people there for them realize that, hey, we can get more hits and bigger advantages with this oddly shaped bat, and it's kind of worked for them. I mean, obviously they're hitting the ball out of the park a lot. What do you think of the torpedo bat? Does it hurt the game, or do you think teams like the Yankees need it to potentially beat the Dodgers in the World Series if they get there?
First off, I do not want that to be another World Series matchup. That was boring as hell.
Okay.
I know. LA versus New York. East Coast, West Coast. Fine. If we want to do East Coast, West Coast, there's a better team, and its name is Boston,
or the Padres for that matter.
Exactly. I would have loved that.
But
that being said, I mean, time will tell.
Okay.
But I'm just hoping if it does affect it, that it doesn't just turn games into high scoring games, because what baseball has done in the past couple of years has made it faster.
Yeah.
The pitch clock.
And I like that. Trust me. I don't want to sit at a ball game for 5 hours.
But if we're going to have multiple home runs back to back to back, or just multiple home runs in an inning,
it's going to
baseball's going to slow back down again. I'm not going to say it's...
Innings will become... I agree with you. Innings will become longer, and...
All the stuff that we did to shorten games
will go
to shit. Yeah. It's going to go away. And everyone loved baseball so much more last year and the years prior, because you're not spending 5 hours at a game. Say you're sitting down at a 7 o'clock game, you're not getting done till at least midnight. You drive home...
the issue. And I think most people understand that...
Imagine the West Coast. You're starting at 10.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to watch that game, if you're here, you're going to be up until 3 a.m. And it's kind of
It's not logical.
No, it's really not. And I like the ability to hit more home runs and hit the ball further, especially being a Detroit fan, because our ballpark is so big.
But Comerica is not a hitter's ballpark.
No,
though.
It's not. And so it's one of those things that, for our sake, let's use the torpedo bat. Let's hit the ball a little
Nor is
further.
Yankee Stadium either.
Yeah. So, I could see why they did that.
But, even still, if it's going to make games longer, I finally enjoy baseball again for, last year and this past year.
Yeah.
The last time I enjoyed it was back when I was a kid.
Yeah, and
so
I think the
if
Tigers...
it's going to come back and it's just going to be slow and boring, I mean, if we want to take our girlfriends to go to baseball games, be there a while. That's the whole reason why we don't go, is because it's going to take 5 hours. I'd rather have the game where it's faster than
golfing. Yeah, exactly.
We could play 2 rounds of golf in the time a baseball game happens back in the day.
I mean, I think that's something to be said.
Remember the 18 innings?
I think Ron Manfield needs to really kind of look at, what is going on right now in baseball and see these trends and see the things that we're looking at. I think if Ron Manfield
bans it, though, I feel like there's going to be
listen to this show. But no, I think, when it comes to it, I think, getting more home runs, making the game more exciting is a thing that
you don't need a torpedo for that. We saw that last year. Judge did, without a torpedo bat, hit 62.
Yeah, he did. And
we don't need
Ohtani did
50-50. I mean,
you got
we don't need a torpedo bat just to make more home runs. The guys could just.
But I think it's those mid-level guys or the guys who are struggling to get the ball in the ballpark that need it. And I think the Yankees
hit the weight room, buddy. Hit the fucking weight room. Then.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's a little more like it's kind of like golf. You swing the club harder. It's not necessarily going to go further. It's all about contact and where you're hitting the ball and how you're hitting the ball and what pitch it is. So I think
a wide little bat like that. I mean, engineered that way.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
pause that motion again there. But no, legitimately,
the bat's not. It's like when we play golf.
I think I know what you're saying. The bat should not be the thing that makes you better. It should be the person swinging that bat.
It's how you and I play golf.
Exactly.
We're both good. We're not amazing, but when we do play good, it's because the fundamentals of it all.
Yeah, and I mean that's I agree. I think that's how it should be. I see just a plethora of things, a plethora of issues like you brought up becoming things. One of the things I see is like turning like to a 3-pointer like in the NBA where it's just boring. But
I'll say this though, the torpedo bat. Imagine Barry Bonds with a torpedo bat.
Yeah, that'd be kind of ridiculous. No, but we'll keep talking about this topic as the season progresses. I want to talk about other notable teams in the early ons. One of our big teams to win the AL East was the Boston Red Sox. And
it's not Boston as a team. It's god awful Rafi Devers.
Yeah.
The dude started this season 0-17 with 19 strikeouts.
Oh God. That's
how
terrible.
in the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
I thought Javi Baez was horrible last year. And then I turned on Boston. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
are we seeing ghosts?
Because we're seeing double here at this point.
At this point, I'm like
Keith and then this guy.
Yeah, but Rafi Devers is the definition of pure power. The fact they switched him DH, they thought it'd be a great idea because he doesn't have to worry about playing third base.
I mean, when it comes down
I
to
was dead wrong.
Maybe he's thinking about hitting too much. Maybe it's one of those things that like he needs to. Pray to Joe Boo a little bit,
I don't know.
Major league techniques. There.
I don't even know, but it was.
Yeah.
He finally broke his slump after 12 games.
God.
But even still, the fact you're going 0-17 with 16 strikeouts, every at bat you've struck out.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's tough, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about another 0 for whatever team here. You take a look at, our, again, going back to our division winners, the NL East, the Atlanta Braves, they are 0-7, folks. I mean, should we just retire and not talk about baseball anymore?
What bugs me is, it might be, thanks, Manfred, for suspending Jerks and Profar again.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that's the reason. But at the same time, this is not the same Braves team I thought was going to come out the gates. I mean, last year they weren't amazing because obviously you had Acuna and Strider go out in the first week.
Yeah.
But even still, it's not good. I mean, yes, the Dodgers are 8-0, but also the Dodgers I'm not going to say the Tigers are a bad team, but you're playing two teams that their payroll is not even close to what the Dodgers is.
Yeah, for real. And it's one of those things also, there's 162 games in this season. So there's a lot more baseball.
There's a lot more baseball.
But, we're seeing trends early on here, folks, and
who knows how long that torpedo bat will last. Exactly. I mean, maybe it's just a little fun story for the beginning of the year. Who knows?
Yeah. Now, you want to hear a fun story? You want to hear a really fun story?
Remember, the Wings suck?
Can we rewind to last week, folks, when Evan was like, yeah, there's no way the Pistons are beating the Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. You're wrong. They beat the Cavaliers, and that was a great game. They beat them 133 to 122 in a game without Cade Cunningham. Tim Hardaway Jr. scored 32 points, and they handed Cleveland their 15th loss on the season. Obviously, the Cavs are an excellent team. I'm not debating that. But the resilience from the Pistons to keep on fighting, they come out, kind of hot, score 31, 32, 38, and 32 again to get to that 133. And their ability to get out on shooters, I think, is really solidified here. Cleveland shot, I'm looking at the box score right now for the team stats, and it says they shot 46 to Detroit's 47% from the field. But one of the things I want to talk about is their 37 to 44% 3-point percentage. And I think that's a very key thing as well. And we talked about it earlier last week, but that was very reassuring that we are a good team, that my prediction of them moving on to play Boston in that Eastern Conference Finals is more likely going to happen. But also along with that,
you can't get suspended.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, they go next game and play the Timberwolves, and a fight broke out, a massive fight. People's throats were being held, and the Pistons receiving...
Pause.
Yeah, the Pistons receiving a lot of hate from it, and for the physicality of the game. Now, Tom Gores recently said, in recent days, our team has been faced with scrutiny stemming from moments of intensity on the court. Let me be absolutely clear. We stand with our players. While I wish the penalty outcome had been different, I write to you with full heart, with pride in our players, passion for our city, and clear voice of support for all those who wear the Pistons colors. We are bonded through challenges. Our players compete with passion and teamwork, values that so many of us share. Detroit has always been a city that plays with hustle and pride. The Pistons have never shied away from playing hard and having each other's backs, and we won't start now. In Detroit, we rise together. To our players and coaches, we continue to work hard and play hard, and we see you, and we appreciate you, we support you, and your dedication fuels this franchise and fuels courage and inspires us all. And then he said to our fans and all that, and together we keep building, together we will keep competing, and together we will keep proving that Detroit basketball is more than just a game. It's a way of life. Tom Gores, governor and Pistons governor. And
there's a governor for basketball now?
There's a governor of basketball. And,
What's going on?
Tom Gores said this, and Isaiah Thomas even weighed in and said 100% for the Detroit Pistons. I see the aggressor. I'm looking at the aggressor. Who's the aggressor right now? The aggressor is Zero in white, right? He grabs the guy in blue, and all those guys in the stands. You can't just come back and have press conferences and say that Detroit guys are so physical and this is how they really are, yada, yada, yada. I just think that Detroit's getting a bad rap. And my question to all of you out there and to Evan here is, how do you feel about this style of play, and why do you think this style of play is being blamed on the Pistons as the aggressors?
Because the NBA is weak and spineless.
Okay. I mean, it sucks because I think the bad boy era of basketball is something that is not sustainable.
They're not going to let it come back.
And they're not going to allow physicality to be dominant in the game anymore. And that's how the Pistons play, and it sucks because everyone's like, oh, well, he touched me. It's like, come on, you're professional, you're adults. Like, let's go.
The NBA don't play like it. They play like they're little children.
Yeah, and it's just very sad.
You look at a guy wrong, and they're just like, oh, ow.
Because of that fight, we had multiple suspended, including Isaiah Stewart's 2-game ban, while teammates like Marcus and Ron Holland received 1-game suspensions. DiVincenzo and Naz Reid were also hit with 1-game bans. I mean, I think the NBA should just let this go. This wasn't, no one got hurt, none of the fans got hurt. I think they just let it go.
Yeah, but it's also the NBA these days.
I mean, it's the weakest league out there. And I think, the commissioner was in the stands last night for the OKC Pistons game. Obviously, what a thriller. The Pistons had a chance to kind of come back and win the game. Obviously, things happened the way they did, and the Pistons lost that game 103 to 119. Some sharp shooting by Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the last half minute or so propelled them to that win. But it was one of my things that, you have a team that doesn't have your starting center. Cade Cunningham's out and Tobias Harris is down, and they fight back to, almost winning the game. Like that shows grit. And I think that's one of the things that people can get behind with this Detroit team, is that they don't stop fighting. And this physicality, while being ridiculed by people out there in the media, is necessary for Detroit because, as Gores said, it's a way of life. Piston basketball and the way we play our sports in the state of Michigan is a way of life for us. We're all about grit. And I have my grit shirt on today to represent the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell. But I think, JD Bickerstaff has really, injected some of that mantra that Dan Campbell has. And I think, The NBA obviously doesn't like it. The refs don't like it. And I think it's going to be a detriment to them in the long run. They're going to have to figure out how to play this new age of basketball. But what do you think about like just the way they've been playing, the fighting back with the Thunder, the beating of the Cavs? Do you think this is promising for the future? Because we don't have Caden. Tobias Harris is hurt. And like one of my things, folks, is that like Cade Cunningham can rest the rest of the season. That's as long as he's healthy for playoffs and ready to go kick some ass. Like, what do you think about all this?
I think big picture is, it sucks that physicality is getting taken out of the game, but we also, the NBA has just gotten more and more offensive centric. As the years go by, it's more points. We see it in the college game. Yeah. A lot of the top teams are offensive sided teams. Back when we were younger and before we were even born, a lot of the teams were built on the fundamentals of defense or the fundamentals of solid physical play. As the years have gone by, it's gotten more and more point-centric, where obviously teams are more focused on scoring the ball rather than playing fundamentally sound defense or going for rebounds, etc.
Yeah, and I think Detroit,
it's the anomaly that
they are.
That most people.
But the thing is that the league needs to like hug Detroit and realize that this is what people want to see. People want to see physicality in basketball. They just don't want to see Curry dropping
they don't teach
52 points. They don't. And it's one of those things that it's like, you got to learn how to do these things. And I think the way the Detroit Pistons are playing, they can beat teams that just play off of pure, scoring. And like, I think, it's one of those things. I don't think OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder isn't that great team anymore. Because we showed they have holes. When you play them physical, you can, beat them. And there's a race right now in the West for the 2 to 3 spot in the playoffs. Obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder have clinched, but the way I looked at it last night, the Detroit Pistons competing with Oklahoma City Thunder with Alexander, like Gillis Alexander, like that's just ridiculous, especially with the guys they had out. So one of my things is that I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not calling it if the Oklahoma City Thunder are a one and done, first round droppers.
I can see where you're saying.
Maybe second round.
I was going to say
depending on who's playing them. So they would be having either the Mavericks, the Kings, the Clippers, or Grizzlies. So
the Mavericks are still in this, I don't know.
That's nuts. I don't know. They're willing themselves to a playoff spot. But what do you think about that?
I think, honestly, there's a lot of things to think about because, obviously, like we were talking, the NBA has gotten soft. So, what will be the storylines down the road that could challenge that? I mean,
Jokic and the Nuggets. I think LeBron and Luka and the Lakers.
I hope they go first round, but that's just me.
Yeah, and then maybe the Rockets.
The Rockets are unproven, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. This Rockets team, I would have not saw this coming. We've seen that the last time the Rockets were any good was like back in the late 2010s, where you'd have James Harden and then obviously an older CP3.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. This year's playoffs, it's interesting. A lot of teams that you don't expect to see it are making it. A lot of teams that you expect to make it aren't making it. I don't know.
They have a guard in Isaiah Collier that went off last night for 22 points, but it seems like this team is more well-rounded. No like big notable names on this team that like
they have a notable center-ish Sanguine, but like at the same time, Sanguine is Sanguine.
Yeah,
it's a well-constructed team, like you said. I think it's balanced play, and I think the big thing with OKC is just the youth. The team has the youngest team in basketball,
and they'll be scary for years to come. And that's where like you got teams like the Boston Celtics realizing they're getting a little old. And, the GM coming out, I think 3 weeks ago saying, hey, we'll trade anything for we'll get rid of Jaylen Brown for Cooper Flag. And makes sense.
If to anyone's point, Cooper Flag is an 18-year-old generational talent.
He is.
The fact the kid's 18 and doing what he's doing at that age.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that at 18.
No, I was playing hockey, but not well.
Right. I was going to say, none of us were like, the fact that he's getting compared to all these greats, who knows? He might shit the bed in the league for all we know.
Yeah, and you never know.
Like this, this Final Four is wild. It's been chalky as hell and annoying, but
it really has. And now it's one of the things that, let's go back to the Oklahoma City Thunder. We talked about Jokic. Most notably, the Joker posted the first 60 triple-double in NBA history.
Westbrook sold him the game, though.
Yeah, he did. But, and then
fouls the guy on a 4-point play to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, Westbrook wanted to see history. He had some money on Jokic doing that.
Yeah, but Jokic still... No. Denver was up by 1, 3 seconds left, and the buzzer sounds, but right before the buzzer sounds...
Foul, yeah.
It's like, nice, Brody.
Oh,
nice,
definitely.
Brody.
Now, most notably, I think Curry was like 9 for 12 in three-point shooting. He drops 52. Now, here's my question. Now, we had the discussion. Obviously, we're not going to get into it right now. LeBron versus Jordan. Who is the best pure shooter in NBA history?
Oh, there's no doubt it's Steph. I mean, I'm not going to debate you on that.
Okay.
I mean, there's no question. I mean, the dude has revolutionized how we see it. I mean, the next best player, obviously, I mean, there's no debate, but like, I mean, I would say my best shooter, if Curry never existed, would have to be Reggie Miller.
Okay.
If Curry never existed, based on pure shooting.
Yeah.
But by pure shooting standpoint, yeah, it's Curry. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's no question what he's been able to do, how he's revolutionized the game, and how the guy has.
I would say the cold-blooded Ray Allen.
Yes, but Ray Allen was really good when it came to like the clutch shots. Like Curry's shooting at volume of these.
Okay, yeah, I do.
Allen's got those dramatic shots that happen, but yeah, Ray Allen's a great shooter too.
Yeah.
But like if you're talking consistently, like most of your points are coming, it's kind of like Austin Matthews. Most of your points are coming from just nice, insane shots.
Yeah, and Curry does have volume. He has range. I do agree he's number 1, but I mean, there's some arguments for number 2 and 3.
Oh, absolutely. But Curry, without a doubt, is the best pure shooter beyond the arc we've ever seen. Yeah. I mean,
before we get in kind of the college hockey takes real quick, I want to talk to you about something. Now, this makes no sense to me. So the Grizzlies are currently holding the 8th seed in the Western Conference.
I kind of see where you're going with this. And I can.
Why the hell would they fire Taylor Jenkins?
Because they had so high aspirations early in the year. They were the 2 seed. Like if we going into the All-Star break, they were the 2 seed.
Okay. Just a hypothetical here. Let's say the Wings were making the second wild card position here. That's like firing, McLennan right now.
He's also been their coach for the past 7 years, and you have not made it out of the first round since then. The only thing you have done in that 7-year tenure, was one Western Conference championship game, and you got swept.
But my thing is that like having direction for a team that is probably going to make the playoffs is something that's key. And like when you get rid of that direction, things go wild.
Well, yeah, but this team also too. The thing with this team is they're a good team, but like they're just there's a bunch of like egos, or just they're like, yes, you have Jaren Jackson Jr., awesome player, but then you got a gun wielding John Morant who's either injured or playing with guns or just doing who knows what gang shit at this point.
Yeah,
like it's not a complete team. Yes, it's a good team, but the fact you had the 2 spot locked up at the All-Star break, and now you're down to the 8.
Yeah.
I mean, fans are probably fuming.
We talk about direction. Okay. We talk about direction, and, we're on the great campus of the Western Michigan University. And Pat Felschweiler, the head coach of Western Michigan University, just won the Coach of the Year in college hockey. He's leading his team for the first time in Western Michigan hockey history. The game is tonight. They play Denver. It's a team they beat twice earlier in the year.
That scares me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm thinking by Saturday night, you may be talking to a person who attends a national championship organization that won a national championship in hockey. Like that,
you have already. What do you mean?
We've won a national championship.
You went to Hope College, buddy. You've won 2 in the time you went to college.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can't say one because your hockey team at Hope College is.
Yeah, but hey, maybe I should join the Red Wings as a ticket sales guy. Maybe we'll win the Stanley Cup next year. Who knows, man?
That's too good. But no.
Here's how to go. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, and then Pistons. Let them stew a little bit. But if like this trend keeps going, I might. But no, yes. Do it. But yeah, no. Let's get back to the real
Western. Yes. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, you've witnessed at least two when you went to Hope.
I mean, those are club, but I mean, yes, those are still really
Hope college team. No,
yes, ACHA D3.
That's not club. It ain't club. Okay. That's still no. They're that's still club. Okay, that's not club.
Okay.
If it's club, obviously no.
Yeah, I mean they do recruit, and that was one of the interesting
their
things.
Team is
but
good.
No, right now we're gonna talk about the Frozen Four, and this is actually a very exciting Frozen Four. The MGM
State should have been there.
Yeah, I mean, but. I'm
Fuck
happy.
You, Cornell. Fuck you, Andy Bernard and Cornell.
Okay.
Fuck you.
We're going to talk about the betting odds on MGM. Right now, that has Denver the best to win it, and then secondly, Michigan or Western Michigan, not Michigan State. Sorry. I just want to let that soak in right there. That I have a team.
I know you like to soak a lot. We know.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why you're little brother.
Oh, God. I'm a little brother. You're a little brother.
You guys got swept by Penn State.
Okay. All right. We're going back to that Michigan State rival. We can't do this in this segment.
Well, we can.
Then we got Boston at 280, plus 280, and then Penn State at plus 400.
Really? They beat you down at 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but interesting.
Yeah. So out of all these 4 schools, who's your favorite to win?
I mean, I want to say, there's no clear favorite for me, if I'm being honest. The way Penn State looked, Penn State played pretty damn good to get there. Yeah. BU knocked off the number 1 team in college hockey, according to everyone, even though it's still state.
Yeah.
So they're there as well.
Yeah.
Denver is the reigning champ. So, there's also that. And then obviously Western has the momentum of everyone there.
And they got some really good sophomores, and Bump and Michaels both have scored a ridiculous amount of goals. 9 goals on the season, 11 assists, the leading goal scorer.
But are you guys a coward, though?
What do you mean?
26 goals, 35 assists?
Yeah. I think, when you look at how this is stacking up,
I think it's anyone's race, honestly. This is probably one of the best Frozen Fours we've seen in recent history.
And you look at
scrappy Penn State team that made it only by sweeping Michigan in the Big Ten tournament to make it to the playoff.
Yeah.
You have a BU team that knocked off BC.
Yeah.
You have Denver, who went through the season as they always do. Yeah. And then a Western team who played out of their mind.
Yeah,
so
and
it's great.
And I think one of the things that center us is Cam Rowe in net. He has an 88.2 save percentage. I think that's outstanding, which is great. But the thing is like you look
Augustine at levels.
You look at the other end, the other side of it. You got Quentin Houston and Cole Iserman, I think that's pronounced. For Boston,
no relation to Stevie.
No relation, spelled with an E, folks. Look at goals per game. They're pretty high up there. They got a .64 and a .62, and they're 7th and 8th in the national rankings we're looking at. But it's like one of those things that
BU is ranked unreasonably low. If I'll be honest, BU is unreasonably low.
You are, and I think tonight is going to be. You're going to see a lot of fireworks. It's going to be a high scoring.
If you
game.
can beat Denver, you can beat anyone.
You got the top scoring team in the nation at 4 goals a game, and then you got Western at 3.95 goals per game. So it's like, what are we doing here? This is going to be an exciting game. But then you got Boston, and then Boston down below at 4. But it's one of those things. Penn State's at 7, so this is going to be a very high scoring. Frozen Four. I think it's going to be whatever team can really succeed defensively. And
look at it this way: if you're Western, if you can beat Denver, you have a pretty good chance against whoever's coming out of that other side.
Yes.
If you're Penn State, it's a Western. It's a very good chance at the Western.
There is actually a watch party at Lawson Arena tonight. I unfortunately will not be attending. I'll be watching it at home, but definitely this is a very exciting night for this campus. A lot of things are going to be buzzing around, especially if we win. What do you think are keys for Western to play a team like Denver for the 3rd time? You think you could beat a team 3 times in a row?
I don't know, but here's the big thing. With Denver, Denver is always a very good team.
Yeah.
It's a small school.
It is.
Very small private school.
Yeah.
But what you got to do is just limit the firepower of the team.
Yeah, and they got 3 of them, Jack Devine, Aiden Thompson, and ZV Boomy.
That's the thing.
And they're all 3 of them are nominated for the College Player of the Year.
And 2 of them are NHL prospects already. So I think big picture is play better, play good defense, play goalie play. I mean,
and we have one of the best goalies in the country.
Exactly. You just have to play the way you know best. It's like what I was talking about with State all year until Cornell had a little fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Play sound hockey and things will go the way you want it.
Definitely. Now, on the flip side of the bracket, what do you think about our Nittany Lions?
I don't see Penn State getting through BU.
Okay.
So if I'm being honest. I mean, I
BU's
don't.
Winning right away.
I'm not going to say it right away. I mean, I think Boston is a far better team than we're giving them any credit for.
Okay. Yeah.
Penn State's the same way. Both teams are very good. I think Penn State's just really streaky, and they also had a very lucky draw with who they got to play.
Okay.
With the best team in their thing being Maine, and Maine was very, very, very streaky in themselves and very just hit or miss.
Yeah.
And if they have a good game, they're in.
Obviously, you're favoring Denver and Western right now to win the national championship. If you had to play either Penn State or BU, who you want to play?
Penn State. You want to play Penn State, but if it's BU, I worry because this BU team, like I was saying earlier, is very, very. Everyone's not even counting them out.
Yeah,
everyone's saying they're the 3rd best team in this thing. I could argue that they are better than Denver, if I'm being honest. When they're hitting on all cylinders, I mean, in the regular season, they beat up on Boston College, and then they also beat Boston College in the playoffs as well to make it to the actual national tournament.
Yeah.
It's not a team that should be treaded lightly. There's a reason they're here. It's not by any circumstance they're here. They know how to play hockey in Boston.
Yeah, they do. They really do. It's just so sad that the pro team can't figure it out.
Yeah, but it's also if I'm being honest about that, it's not like because they're not figuring it out. Going into the season, they were the oldest team constructed by roster.
Okay. Yeah.
When you have that, and obviously age does play a huge factor in it. And then you start trading a little bit here and there. Age does catch up to you fast in hockey. So honestly, I think what their plan is start to reload starting next year and just go from there. I know it sucks, but yeah, it's mainly due to the fact that they were old.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I was surprised to see Tampa.
Yeah.
They were constructed very old.
Hey, man, let's not discriminate against people here because Alexander Ovechkin is old and he's on the pursuit of greatness.
3 more.
3 more goals, folks.
3 more.
Let's get a hat trick. Why don't you just get a hat trick tonight?
Who does he play?
I think he plays against. Well, it's projected to break April 6th. Against the New York Islanders, but let's see if the Capitals play tonight. What do you think of this run so far?
For him?
Yeah, for him. Do you think he could break any other records, or do you think he's just a pure goal scorer?
He's a pure goal scorer through and through.
Okay, and I mean, he's not touching any others.
If you're gonna refer to the assist total, the next player closest to said Gretzky is Crosby, and Crosby still would have to get another.
They play the Blackhawks. They play him tomorrow, so I could. He could score a hat trick.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing.
Yeah.
If you want that record, any more of those, like any Gretzky number records, let's go assists first.
Okay.
Sidney Crosby would have to get 1,000 more assists, just to get even close.
That's crazy.
To Gretzky's assists. Gretzky has 2,000 career assists.
Wow.
The next closest person is Sidney Crosby, who has 1,000 of his own. You have to get 1,000 more, and keep in mind, Crosby's not young. Crosby is the next closest player to that. And then, if you want to go one more further, Patrick Kane has 850. Kane would have to get 2,000 more assists just to get even close to Gretzky's record.
Well, you know what's crazy? Is that both Alexander Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky have played the same amount of years.
Absolutely. And it's great.
That's cool. I mean, that shows like...
I think, truthfully, I mean, he's always going to be put under one of the greatest of all time. Absolutely.
Oh, you're making that argument now.
He'll put as the greatest of all time in his own category of pure shooting, obviously.
Okay, and pure goal scorers. Okay.
Exactly. But he's not, there's still no Wayne. There's no one that is.
Yeah, there's no one that's going to touch that because that's.
You'd have to start when you're at least 16.
Yeah, and I mean, Wayne Gretzky, obviously, unbelievable player. He's the greatest hockey player of all time.
Absolutely.
Because arguably, Gordie Howe could be up there, but Gordie Howe paved the way.
In the pantheon.
Yeah, Gordie paved the way for Wayne to run.
Exactly. And the thing is, I'm not going to say because he played in a different era, he's better than. No, hockey's has remained pretty much unchanged with an exception of a couple things here and there.
Yeah.
That being obviously players actually protecting themselves. But I think hockey, I mean, Wayne could probably do it, if not even more. In this day and age,
I think the pads are bigger on goalies. I think goalies take more care in their bodies. I think it's a different game. Like again, like people say, oh, Jordan could do it even more in this era. I think making those comparisons are difficult because of the era we play in with the nutrition and everything.
Exactly.
And the size differences and the speed. So I think there is a little bit discrepancies there. But no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, people could say it all they want, but at the same time, Ovechkin in himself
greatness is greatness no matter what.
Exactly. He's great in his own statistical category, and that's the best part about it.
We talk about greatness. We talk about great players like Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky. I want to talk for a minute before we kind of get into the East and West playoff race about a great organization, a shitty team, and a former great player who played for them and arguably could become one of the greatest of all times. And that organization I'm talking about is the Detroit Red Wings. And the fall off. Now,
who's this great player you're talking?
Oh, Gordie Howe, man, come on.
No, I know, but you were talking about another player.
Oh, Patrick Kane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think it's one of those things that Detroit does have a good roster. You got, arguably one of the better farm systems in the league right now. And you got all these old guys like DeBrincat, King, Larkin. And a few others, on the defensive side that struggled all year. The goalies have been lackluster. Trey Augustine just said he's coming back to Michigan State for his senior year. So
junior year,
and then he's coming back for his senior year.
Yeah, the dude's not going. The dude's not going to go to the league unless he damn well knows he needs to.
Yeah,
his parents have decided to, and his agent. They're like,
I think winning a national championship and then maybe going on to win the Stanley Cup in Detroit could be a cool, only one other player's done that, and that's Justin Abelkader in Detroit. So, I think that's a very cool thing. He's from Muskegon, if I'm not correct, right?
From the Ski.
They're from the Skeegs.
But
no, I think with the Wings, one of the segments I saw today, it was hope or die. And where are you at with the Red Wings? Do you hope they keep playing?
As an outside looking in?
As an outside looking in, do you want them to make the playoffs and maybe play you guys first round, or do you want them to just die? Because personally, as a fan, I don't want to talk about the Wings anymore. I'd rather talk about good things like the Pistons and the Tigers, and then start to get into NFL talk. But no, it's one of those things that the season's over in my mind. It was over after. Really, truly, the descent happened after the Battle of Four Nations when Larkin came back injured. It was like one of those things that this team just imploded, and there was nothing we could do. I mean, obviously, you point out this hardest second half.
I think it's truthfully
schedule
attrition sets in fast. I mean, I'm not going to say that obviously you guys easily could have made it, but attrition sets in, and if you guys if you're going on all these nice streaks that you've gone on, but then you lose guys on the way.
Yeah, and then that's what kills you. But my problem is that, you talk about attrition. Who has more legs? Legs we feed the wolf, gentlemen. We've heard that throughout our entire careers as hockey players. Why don't you bring up the young kids? Why don't you bring up
the inexperienced, though? Think about it this way.
But attrition is one thing. But you have leaders in that locker room that can give them experience. You put them on the third or fourth line. You don't put them on line one. I'm not saying that.
Right, but that's what people sometimes want. You want to put them thrown to the wolves.
But trial by fire. You can't. Yzerman, I think, is coddling these young players so much that you got. Multiple players we talked about last week with Sophia that are great. Why not bring them up during this last push?
Because here's the thing. GR is also making that same push.
Yeah, but it's what, okay. So the more realistic thing would be for GR to go on the AHL playoffs. But as the general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, if you have the option, if you have the two-way option with these guys to bring a guy up to the team.
Well, some of these guys are, like Sophia was saying, some of these guys are too young, so they can't be brought up yet.
But I mean, I just think that this should have been done earlier in the season, just so that the attrition aspect that you were talking about doesn't set in. I think if Yzerman does this next year, I think we might see a different squad in terms of attrition. And
what's nice though, you have your coach of the future right now, which is nice.
Yeah,
but you really didn't have him at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
if you have a full season of McClellan, I think you might see a little better of what you wanted.
Yeah,
the fact that you got all those win streaks, it's great. But you had 3 months of Lalonde where you saw some good, but you were left empty.
Yeah, and then that's one of my things.
If you can have a full season with McClellan, you might see what you want that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Because who knows? Maybe this team, this is what all the good stuff we see. But obviously, maybe if they put it all together in the full season, then you're not asking yourself, hey, are we vying for the second wild card spot? Are we vying for the first one?
Yeah.
With a chance to maybe the third.
Yeah. And then that's one of the things that it just.
Because if you started early.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that it just frustrates me to the core is that, like, it started with Lalonde and just shit. It just, we kept losing.
And then you had to build yourself out of the ashes.
Yeah.
If you didn't have to build yourself out of the ashes, I think you'd been okay.
And that's kind of what happened last year, too. And I think Todd McLennan's direction, the way he's coaching, the more task mastery, Mike Babcock style of coaching, players respond to it. When they're challenged, they respond. And I think, the coddling like they do, sometimes these player coaches doesn't work for their style.
It's what happened to Boston.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, going forward, the Wings going to need to really lean on that style of play and really demand a lot from their leaders. So I think next season is going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. My hope for them is they're going to die and die quickly. I don't think they're going to win another game this season.
Pull an old Yeller.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, for the love of God, just put me out to pasture already. But we're going to get to teams that are not going out to pasture, and we're going to talk about the Western Conference playoffs first. Right now, out of the gates, you got some crazy, crazy stuff. Because right now I'm looking at a really interesting matchup, and that would be if you're looking at the Bleacher Report NHL playoffs, what it looks like today. You got Dallas and at the Avalanche. Now, Evan, you were talking about this guy earlier. This is a revenge series for who?
Mikko Rantanen, which, I mean, the dude's coming full circle again, which is crazy. But honestly, it would be wild to see him play his old team. And honestly, both teams are wonderfully constructed teams.
Yeah.
You have the youth that is Dallas, which there is no player on that team under the age of 29.
Yeah. And I mean,
versus the more Avalanche team, which is more on the older side. So it's youth versus older. But the thing is, too, both teams are very sound teams. You could not predict either side.
Yeah, definitely. Now, those two squads obviously have some animosity for each other. I'm looking at another two games that have some animosity. Toronto versus the Senators, two Canadian teams going at it. And then you got Florida versus Tampa. So, like, you got some heat. There's some heat. And then
Battle of Ontario, Battle versus Florida.
Yeah, and then in the second round, so say if the Capitals knock off the Habs and the Hurricane knock off Jersey.
The Habs making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jeez, when's the last time we said that?
A while.
Nah, COVID.
Yeah.
When they made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Oh, yeah. I remember that was
wild.
That was. But no, I mean, then you could have what you had last night in that fight. People are calling for suspensions. It was a Capitals player versus a Hurricanes player. They spun to the ground. I think a guy got his head slammed on the ice. Oh, God. You're singing. I was like, what are you singing back there? But no. I mean, I think those are two teams that hate each other. So one of my things I love about this playoff so far is there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of animosity. And unlike the NBA, there's a lot of juice in this playoffs. Out of the Western Conference, who is your dog coming out? And then I'll give you my dog out of the East, and we can kind of compare back and forth. So let's go West first.
Well, I love the Oilers out West, but if we're taking that out of there, I love Dallas. I love this Dallas team. I mean, this team, they have a Michigan-born player as well. Yeah. Jason Robertson. The dude is only 23 and still on it. Why can't
we have a Michigan team in this? But we go on. Sorry.
You have it for college, so it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be.
But I honestly think this Dallas team, if they click on all cylinders, this team is a team of destiny. I mean, you have a great goalie. If you can have Miro Heiskanen coming back, which is huge for them, especially because he is on their top line, I think this Dallas team has what it takes to take down Winnipeg. I mean, yes, Winnipeg's a good team, but also we've seen them get folded like a lawn chair year in, year out.
Yes, we have.
And they could be so damn good, but then fall like a lawn chair to teams that they never should. They got swept by Nashville last year, and Nashville's not even in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, it took some great teams to get past some key players. Like you look at, for instance, the Michael Jordan era of basketball. Like he didn't get to the finals every single time in his career. He had some challenges he had to get above, and he eventually did. And he won because he got past those challenges. So hopefully they can, like the Bulls, do that as well.
I just want McDavid to get at least one cup before he goes.
I think this could be a good year for him to do that. I think, coming out of the Pacific, obviously you got the Kings and the Golden Knights, which they're all scary teams, but it's one of those things that I think coming out of the West.
The West is weak. I'll be completely honest with you. The West is very weak.
One of my things is that I like the Oilers coming out of there just because they went to a cup last year. McDavid, obviously, I wanted to get him a cup, and I think they have a very good roster over there. Out of the East, or who do you got?
I have my boys. My boys.
Wow. So we basically right here, so it could be Dallas or the Oilers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs.
If we're going my little sneaky, and I'm probably going to take your thunder off this.
Okay.
No pun intended.
Oh, I'm not even going there. So I'm not going Lightning.
No. The eye of the hurricane.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like Carolina.
Carolina's sneaky. They're good.
They are.
I mean, they had Mika Rantanen in for all of 2 weeks, but still, they're a good team. They're constructed great. They have a fluid team. I mean, goalie is suspect, but they have a team that is constructed well.
No, I'm not going.
Are you going with Kachuk, brother?
I'm going with the Capitals, bro.
Okay.
I think it'd be very, very like sentimental and a very like cool way for Alexander Ovechkin to go into retirement. He beats Wayne Gretzky's
He's not going to retire this year.
He wins the Stanley Cup. He wins 2 cups on his career. He's done everything that he kind of needs to do in the game of hockey. He's going down as arguably one of the greatest players of all time. Like, I think it's a perfect ride into the sunset moment for
interesting.
Got to put some bags in his hands.
I don't think he's gonna retire this year.
The song goes,
Yes.
No, but
he could. But I feel like we would have heard it by now if there was a chance for him to.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I know he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, we saw Joe Thornton. I don't think he's that old.
I think he's pretty old. Let's look that up. But
so is LeBron.
I mean, so do you think? Yeah, LeBron is old. Alexander he's 39. So okay.
I was gonna say there's no way he's 43.
Okay.
He's no Joe.
Yeah, okay.
Joe Thornton.
Joe Thornton. But he's still producing at a ridiculous rate. We talked about it earlier. Now going forward here, where do you want Toronto to win?
I just want a Canadian team to win it. Okay, honestly, let's get 1993 done.
Well, here's the thing, and I saw this online. The last time the Boston Bruins and Detroit Red Wings did not make the playoffs was 1967, which is a crazy stat line overall. But you know who won in 1967?
My boys.
Your Toronto Maple Leafs. So,
but I hate that fact too because here's the thing.
Now it's all the pressure. Now everyone sees that. And
who'd they play back in '67?
In the Cup?
Yeah, remind me. It wasn't Dallas because Dallas wasn't a team then.
Okay, 1967 Stanley Cup Finals was the Montreal Canadiens versus
back when the Canadiens were out west.
Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes. No, but definitely.
That's so weird to think that Montreal was then that.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird, also too, what's one team that was also in the West that moved east that one of us supports? I said one of us supports.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
It's your Wings. The Wings were in the Western Conference back when they were winning cups, which makes absolute no sense.
I thought you meant migrated from like a Western city. I was like, what?
Detroit was the Western Conference champion back when they played the Penguins, which makes no sense.
Definitely, I agree. I hated those days because you had to stay up so late at night. But
it makes no sense. Why is Detroit a Western Conference team?
Yeah, but now they're in the East, and now they're struggling to win.
Well, I mean. The West was horrid back in the day. Let's be honest.
It was.
The teams were like...
The West isn't still very good.
No, it's not. But that's the thing. It's a lot of the expansion teams or the teams that like...
Yeah. And we'll see. Right. And hopefully that this playoffs for both the Maple Leafs, Capitals, Oilers, or Winnipeg Jets.
Let's just have a fun Stanley Cup playoff.
Have a fun Stanley Cup playoff. Let's have a fun weekend with the Western Michigan Broncos, and let's go Tigers, of course. From all of us over here at Super Sports Bros, we want to thank you for tuning in, and have a great night, folks.
Good night.